3 half-ton trucks, 1 working farm, 9 years of the same dirt, the same weather, the same fuel, and the same maintenance schedule. A Chevy Silverado 5.3, a Ford F-150 5.0, and a RAM 5.7 HEMI. 600,000 combined miles between them. That is not 3 random used trucks off a lot. That is the cleanest side-by-side these 3 V8s are ever going to get. All 3 came apart against the same 4 checkpoints. And here is the part that matters. It was not the truck with the most findings that lost. It was the one whose single finding cost 10 times what the other 2 cost combined. Let's get into it. The 4 checkpoints. Before the trucks, the method, because a comparison is worthless if each engine gets judged by different standards. Every one of these 3 engines was measured against the same 4 checkpoints in the same order. Checkpoint 1, valve train. Camshaft, lifters, timing components, the parts that move constantly and the parts that get expensive fastest when they wear. Checkpoint 2, cylinder and bore condition, scoring on the walls, glazing that would point to ring wear, anything that says the bottom end is tired. Checkpoint 3, oil control. Is the engine consuming oil, and is there a consumption trend that does not match the odometer? Checkpoint 4, external. Gaskets, seals, manifolds. Everything bolted to the outside that leaks, ticks, or seeps. 4 checkpoints, 3 engines. And one more rule that matters more than any of them. Where the evidence only supports a flag, this video calls it a flag, not a verdict. There is a lot of guessing on the internet about these engines. This is not going to be more of it. And one note on why a comparison like this is so hard to find. Normally, when someone lines up 3 trucks, the trucks have lived completely different lives. Different owners, different climates, different maintenance, different work. One got towed with, one got babied, one got neglected, and any conclusion you draw is really about the owners, not the engines. That is why the setup here matters more than any single finding. Same farm, same dirt, same fuel, same weather, same maintenance schedule, same 9 years, same kind of daily hauling. The trucks were not bought to prove anything. They were bought as deals came up. Which means whatever separates them at 200,000 miles is much more likely to be the engine than the circumstances. Truck 1, the Ford F-150 5.0 Coyote, 217,000 miles. First up, the Ford. 217,000 miles on a 5.0-liter Coyote V8, backed by the 6R80 6-speed. And the generation matters here. This is the Gen 2 Coyote, before the 5.0 moved to the 10-speed, and the reliability picture on this specific engine and this specific transmission is a different conversation from a newer one. Valve train first. Timing chain guides and tensioners showing wear consistent with the mileage and nothing beyond it. No rattle on cold start, no slack in the chain past what 9 years and 217,000 miles should produce. Worth knowing what was expected here. The Coyote has a documented history of timing chain and phaser wear, and a full timing kit is not cheap. The parts alone run into the high hundreds. At this mileage, finding a chain that had not stretched is the surprise, not the baseline. Clean checkpoint. There is also a carbon story on this engine that goes the Ford's way. Because this generation uses port injection, fuel washes across the back of the intake valves on every cycle. That is the exact thing a direct injection engine cannot do, and it is why buildup here was normal for the mileage and nowhere near the point where anyone would be discussing a walnut blasting service. Bore condition. Inspected through the cylinder, no scoring on the walls, no glazing suggesting ring wear beyond normal. The kind of clean bore you would expect on an engine half this age. Clean, oil control, normal, no consumption trend, nothing telling a different story than the odometer. Clean. External. One finding, and it is the whole list, a faint line of residue where a valve cover gasket had started to seep. Not a leak yet, cosmetic at this stage. Call it $150 to $250 whenever it gets done. That is the entire report on a 9-year-old farm truck with 217,000 miles of dust and heat behind it. 3 clean checkpoints and a cheap gasket. Boring, and boring is the best word an engine can earn at that mileage. One thing worth saying about the transmission behind it, because half of what kills a high-mileage truck is not the engine at all. The 6R80 6-speed has a reputation for being nearly unkillable when it is serviced on schedule, and this one did nothing to argue with that reputation. It is not the most sophisticated transmission on this list. It has fewer gears, it hunts a little more under load, and it will not impress anyone with shift polish. But it is simple, it is proven, and it earns its name by outlasting everything bolted around it without drama. That is a real thing to value at 200,000 miles, and it is worth remembering when the newer, cleverer transmissions come up later in this video. Truck 2, the Chevy Silverado 5.3 Ecotec 3, 204,000 miles. Now the Chevy, 204,000 miles on a 5.3-liter Ecotec 3 L83, backed by the 6L80 6-speed. And I want to start with the two checkpoints that came back clean, because they are the part of this story that gets buried, and they matter enormously if you own one of these. Bore condition, clean, same as the Ford. This engine runs direct injection, which means it has its own carbon story and no fuel washing the intake valves, but at 204,000 miles, it had not progressed to anything worth calling a finding. Oil control, also normal for the mileage. No consumption trend to report. Two clean checkpoints, exactly like the Coyote. So the bottom end of this engine, the part that decides whether an engine is fundamentally any good, is in genuinely excellent shape at over 200,000 miles of farm work. Remember that when you get to the verdict. Then comes the valve train, and this is where the whole comparison stopped being predictable. This engine uses active fuel management, GM's cylinder deactivation, and it is known to put extra wear into the lifters and the cam area tied to the deactivation hardware. The reason is not mysterious. Those parts are doing double duty, switching between two different physical states, over and over, for 200,000 miles, instead of doing one job the way an ordinary lifter does. Here is what that actually looked like. Before anything came apart, there was a faint tick under load, the kind of noise an owner mentions almost as an afterthought because it has been there a while and never got worse, so they stopped worrying about it. That is exactly the noise that is easiest to write off. With the covers off, there was early stage wear right in the area tied to the deactivation hardware. Now, the honest limit on that. This does not prove a specific lifter is about to fail. Nobody took this engine down to the crank to hand you a diagnosis that cannot be backed up. What it shows is where in the exact area GM's cylinder deactivation system is known to stress at a mileage where accumulated wear stops being theoretical. Left alone, that pattern is the opening chapter of a story that ends in a full cam and lifter job, all 16 lifters, a new cam, and a new timing set, while everything is already apart. Parts and labor land somewhere around $2,000 to $3,000. Caught now, it is a repair on your schedule. Ignored, it is a repair on the truck's schedule, and that is always the more expensive version. And I want to be fair to this engine in a way most videos will not be, because there is a version of this finding that gets exaggerated into something it is not. This is not a knock on the Ecotec 3 as a design. Plenty of these engines run well past 200,000 miles without ever having a lifter problem. You will find owners in the comments of this very video at 300,000 and 400,000 miles who never touched one. The failures are real, they are documented, and they are expensive, but they are not universal, and anyone telling you every one of these engines grenades is selling you fear. What makes this finding carry more weight than the other two on this farm is not that it is certain, it is that it is expensive. A gasket seep is an afternoon, manifold bolts are an afternoon. A cam and 16 lifters is a different category of bill entirely, and it lands on exactly the part of the engine that has been doing double duty since the day the truck left the factory. Now, the 6L80 6-speed behind it deserves a mention too, because it has its own well-known conversation, torque converter shudder, the rumble strip feeling under light acceleration that a lot of these develop somewhere around 100,000 miles. That is largely a heat and fluid story, which means it is largely preventable, and it is one more reason the transmission temperature reading on your dash is worth watching. MIDCTA. Quick pause, hit like and subscribe, and drop a comment with the highest mileage you have ever put on a Chevy V8, because those numbers are the most useful thing on this channel. One truck to go, and it is the one everyone assumes finishes last. It did not. Let's keep going. Truck 3. the Ram 5.7 HEMI, 201,000 miles. Last, the Ram, 201,000 miles on a 5.7-liter HEMI, backed by the 8 HP 70 8-speed. And after the Chevy finding, the expectation walking up to this one was that it would be worse. It was not. Bore condition, clean. Oil control, normal for the mileage, no trend worth flagging. 2 checkpoints that came back looking closer to the Ford than to the Chevy, which is genuinely not what anybody predicted. The external checkpoint is where this truck talks, and telling the two noises apart is the diagnosis. The first tick showed up the instant the key turned, sharp, right around the exhaust manifold area. Given a minute to come up to temperature, that tick faded almost completely as the metal expanded and the gap it was coming from closed up. That fading with heat signature is the classic tell of exhaust manifold bolts on a pre-2018 HEMI. Those years used a lower-grade steel bolt that corrodes and fatigues, and they are well documented for snapping. Caught early, replacing them runs roughly $300 to $550. Let one shear off below the surface of the head and it becomes a much longer afternoon with a torch and an extractor. But underneath that first tick, there was a second one, quieter, more consistent, and it did not fade as things warmed up. And here is where this video is going to do the thing most videos will not. That second noise could be MDS-related valve train wear. The HEMI has its own cylinder deactivation and its own version of the same conversation the Chevy just had. Or it could be something else entirely. That is worth a proper valve train inspection, and it is not a diagnosis anyone should hand down from one cold start on a lift. It is a flag, not a verdict. One confirmed, well-known, inexpensive finding. One open question that is not fair to call settled. And that is a much better outcome than this engine looked like it was heading for 20 minutes earlier. The HEMI carries a reputation. The HEMI tick is one of the most searched phrases in the truck world, and a lot of people walked into this comparison assuming the Ram would be the easy one to beat. It came closer than expected, and the reason is instructive. The noise the HEMI is famous for is very often the cheap finding, the manifold bolts, and not the expensive one. Owners hear a tick, assume the worst, and either panic spend or give up on the truck entirely when the actual repair is a few $100s of hardware. Learning to tell a noise that fades with heat from one that does not is worth more than any opinion about which brand is better. The 8 HP 70 8-speed behind it also deserves credit, and this is the one place the Ram genuinely beats both of the others. Built by ZF, it shifts with a polish the 6R80 does not even attempt, with a wider gear spread and far less hunting for the right ratio under load. If the question were which transmission to live with every day, that would be a different verdict from the engine verdict, and those are two different conversations that should not be pretended into one. The scoreboard. Line all three up the way they were checked, and here is what the bench actually showed. The Ford Coyote, 3 clean checkpoints, 1 minor gasket seep, $150 to $250. The Chevy Ecotec 3, 2 clean checkpoints, and 1 valve train concern that is genuinely expensive if it is left alone, $2,000 to $3,000. The Ram HEMI, 2 clean checkpoints, 1 confirmed and inexpensive finding at $300 to $550, and 1 flag that honestly needs more digging before anyone calls it. 3 V8s, more than 600,000 combined miles. The same farm, the same work, the same 9 years. And notice what decided this. It was not the number of findings. The Ram had as many findings as the Chevy. What separated them was what those findings cost. The Ford's gasket is an afternoon. The Ram's manifold bolts are an afternoon. The Chevy's valve train is a cam job. Dollar for dollar, that one finding outweighs the other 2 combined, and it is not close. There is one more thing the scoreboard shows that is easy to miss. Look at the checkpoints that came back clean across all 3 trucks. Bore condition and oil control passed on every single engine at over 200,000 miles. All 3 of these V8s, Ford, Chevy, and Ram, have fundamentally sound bottom ends after 9 years of farm work. Nobody had scored cylinders. Nobody was drinking oil. That is genuinely remarkable, and it is worth stating plainly, because the internet version of this comparison is usually 3 brands calling each other garbage. The truth is that all three of these engines are good, and the entire difference between them at 200,000 miles came down to what was bolted on top of a healthy bottom end: a gasket, some manifold bolts, and a cylinder deactivation system. That is the actual finding of this test. The verdict, and what it actually means if you own the Chevy. On engine condition alone, at these 3 mileages, on this farm, doing this work, the 5.0 Coyote is the winner. Not because the other two are bad engines, but because on the day all 3 came apart, it gave the least to worry about. Now here is the part that matters if you are watching this in a Silverado, and I want to be precise about it, because the easy read of this video is the wrong one. The Chevy did not lose because the engine is weak. Look at what came back clean. The bore, at 204,000 miles of farm work. Oil control, at 204,000 miles. Those are the checkpoints that tell you whether an engine's fundamental design is any good. And the Ecotec 3 passed both, alongside a Coyote that is widely considered one of the best V8s Ford has ever built. The 5.3 is not a fragile engine. It is a genuinely strong engine carrying one expensive passenger. And that passenger is the one part of this whole video you can actually do something about. AFM is not a design flaw you are stuck with. It is a system you can stop from cycling with a disabler and starve of the conditions that damage it with disciplined oil changes on a short interval. Every owner running 300,000 and 400,000 miles on a 5.3 that you see in these comments did the same 2 things. So the honest verdict is this: the Ford won the day, and if you own a Chevy, this test just told you exactly where your money is at risk and exactly which single thing to go handle. That is worth more than a trophy. And there is a version of this test that would have gone very differently. Take the same Chevy, same farm, same 9 years, but with a disabler fitted early and oil changed every 4,000 to 5,000 miles instead of on the monitor, and the valve train checkpoint plausibly comes back looking like the other two, at which point this comparison ends in a near tie decided by a gasket. That is not a hypothetical to make Chevy owners feel better. It is the whole reason to know where your risk sits. So tell me in the comments, what is the highest mileage you have put on a Chevy V8? And did you ever touch the AFM? Drop your number, because those are the answers everyone else is scrolling down to read. Hit like and subscribe. I will see you in the next one.